absolutely no template. Many of them, they went out to France, they had a few weeks before they first went into action. So they were the guys that were making it up as they went along. Bring on our Mark IV tank, I will hope in a minute, or someone's going to get something. And we've also brought on our Sherman, our Centurion, and obviously what you've seen earlier today, the modern Challenger 2 tank. Now the Centurion, that represents that period, mainly of national service. Again, many in the audience here, we've got a load of ex-national servicemen. 2 million men went through national service back from 1939 to 1960. And if you were 17 to 21, you went on, first of all, 18 months, when the Korean War came, they pushed it up to 2 years. So there's a fair number of armoured soldiers in the audience now who would have served on Centurion. And in fact, the crew inside that Centurion we've got here today, some of those, again, served on that for real. That Centurion, it's in the colours of the Berlin Brigade at the time in the early 1970s. We've also got there on the far side of the arena our Sherman. And that Sherman crew, they're just jumping out now so that you can see the Second World War crews. Again, don't forget, in Britain we were very much a citizen army in the Second World War. And again, from the British point of view, our crews were treated in a very different way, how we had to treat our crews in World War II, than perhaps a German or a Russian crew. Don't forget, the Germans, the Russians, dictatorships. We were a citizen army. We treated our soldiers in a very different way. And across there, of course, just before World War II, we formed what now we call the Royal Armoured Corps in 1939. That armoured corps was to bring all the soldiers that were fighting in tanks together under one, and it was hoped at the time to be one cap badge. The armoured Second World War came along, they didn't bother doing that further amalgamation, and we're now looking at the situation today where we have an armoured corps still with many different regiments doing slightly different roles in that armoured corps. We've got our modern Challenger 2 there. And the crew on top of that, we've got Gunner Staff Sergeant Dart from the Dorset Yeomanry, again that backup force that are doing an awful lot to keep the main force of the British Army going in the field. We've got the commander of the vehicle, Corporal Cook from KRH, Driver Lance Corporal Keys from RTR, and Corporal Brown from RTR, who's playing as the operator today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've already mentioned the fact we've got so many veterans here around the place today, and as with this is Armed Forces weekend, we've got foreign military here, we've got Dutch, we've got Austrian soldiers, we've got some Americans here today, we've got a party that's come over with the Char B tank from the French Tank Museum with French serving soldiers as well. And as this is Armed Forces weekend, I just think it's another opportunity to show the serving soldiers, the veterans in the audience, our appreciation. So, ladies and gentlemen, could I ask you to stand up and give a round of applause for all of those who've served our country in the past and the present, and on this our Armed Forces weekend. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for that, and please do shake the hands of the soldiers. We've got some Chelsea pensioners here, and also some of the youngsters who are going to be our soldiers of tomorrow. The crew that are manning, those 8 men that have come out of the Mark IV replica tank, young lads, amazingly, they're all Dorset Army Cadet Force youngsters. A couple of them we know are going to be serving fairly soon. Again, ironically, they're about the age, those young teenagers there, of the original tank crews. Those First World War tanks, they take 1 officer, normally a corporal or a sergeant as the driver, and again 6 other crewmen inside that tank. 4 of them needed just to drive it, just to be able to go along. You need 4 guys to drive a First World War tank. 4 others man the guns on those, what they call the sponsons on the side. And of course ours there is a male tank with the bigger 6-pounder guns on. We call those something like 57mm these days. Female tanks just would have the machine guns on. And we even did a version, when they realised the combination would be a good thing to have, they even did a version called a hermaphrodite, where they had a 6-pounder one side and a machine gun on the other. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do, we'll parade those tanks off for you so you can see them. And thank you again for coming along to the museum today, because it's not just supporting the Tank Museum, we are a charity. I always like dropping a hint, you know, if you spend your money in our shop, on our stalls, that helps us support what we're doing. This is also one of those rare showcases where the public and the serving army can get up together nice and close, and don't forget, this is your army. They're not strangers from some other planet. They're the people that are going to go to places that politicians you vote into power are going to send them to. So own them. You know, they're part and parcel of our society. We must not lose touch with our military. Sermon over. So what we're going to do now, we're going to parade those vehicles off, and then we'll get ready for our historical afternoon armour parade. Challenger 2 tank. Many of you in the audience, if you like tanks, one of the issues is, it wasn't that long ago, tanks were old hat. We wanted to get rid of them. We wanted to dispose of tanks. We didn't think they were going to be much use anymore. In fact, of course, tanks have made a bit of a comeback. And we've now got the situation where Challenger 2 is going through an upgrade. There's a competition going on. Rheinmetall, the German company, and BAE Systems are the two preferred bidders at the moment, and they're going to be presenting what they can do with the Challenger 2 probably within the next year, and then that upgrade program will go on with Challenger 2 because it's going to be a bit long in the tooth in places, sighting systems, etc. But the key thing about Challenger 2, it's got stunning gunnery on it and amazing levels of armour protection. The British Chobham armour, we could tell you what's in it, but then we'd have to kill you all because it's top secret what goes into Chobham, ceramic, rubber, all sorts of things. And then the idea being, of course, that if we can, instead of building whole new tanks, we're going to be upgrading that tank, so it's not only just trying to keep up with the enemy, with any luck, it'll jump ahead of what's out there as a threat vehicle that may be